The more real English you hear, the more naturally you'll speak. This is English FlowZone, and today's 2-hour advanced listening practice features real-life conversations to help you improve your comprehension, speak with greater clarity, and build lasting confidence. Press play, listen with purpose, and let every conversation bring you closer to true fluency.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for clicking on this video today. I'm really glad you're here, and I appreciate you choosing to spend your time improving your English with me. Before we begin, if you enjoy learning English through natural conversations, real-life examples, and advanced practice, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us grow and helps learners around the world reach higher levels of English fluency. Today's session is designed for learners who want to move towards C1 and C2 levels of English. These are advanced levels where you don't just understand English, you use it confidently, naturally, and effectively in almost any situation. Whether you're studying for an exam, preparing for work, or simply aiming to sound more fluent, this 2-hour lesson will give you the practice, repetition, and real-world exposure you need. Let's begin with a simple question to set the tone for today's practice. When you think of someone who speaks English at a high level, what comes to mind? Do you imagine someone who speaks quickly? Someone who uses impressive vocabulary? Or someone who understands every topic easily? In reality, advanced English isn't only about sounding smart, it's about expressing ideas clearly, understanding subtle meanings, and communicating naturally. It's about being able to handle conversations about life, culture, society, emotions, work, and even complex topics with confidence and flow. In this video, we'll explore many of these ideas. We'll talk about communication skills, daily life situations, personal growth, advanced vocabulary, deeper topics, and practical ways to think in English. Each part of the script will help you strengthen your ability to speak naturally and understand English the way native speakers use it. So, as you listen, imagine yourself in these situations. Try to respond in your mind, repeat sentences out loud, and practice as if you were having a real conversation. Let's start with a warm-up topic that many advanced learners enjoy: how daily habits shape our communication skills. Think about your everyday routine. How often do you expose yourself to English? Do you listen to podcasts during breakfast? Do you read a few pages of a book before bed? Do you talk to yourself in English while doing simple tasks like cooking or driving? These small habits may seem unimportant, but they build your fluency faster than you might expect. Researchers in language learning say that consistent exposure matters more than long, difficult study sessions. In fact, many experts suggest that using English for short periods, several times a day, is more effective than trying to study for hours once a week. This is because your brain learns a language through repetition, meaning, and context. The more often you hear natural expressions, the faster your brain turns them into something familiar, something automatic. Let's reflect on that for a moment. When you hear phrases like "on a regular basis," "from time to time," or "as far as I'm concerned," do they feel natural to you? Or do you still translate them from your native language? At C1 and C2 levels, your goal is to reduce translation and increase intuition. You want to reach a point where English ideas come to your mind without effort. That's one of the main purposes of today's practice, to help you think in English through long, meaningful listening. Now, let's dive into our first advanced topic: how modern life affects the way we communicate. This is something that people across the world can relate to. Whether you live in the United States, India, Europe, Africa, the Middle East, or Southeast Asia, communication has changed dramatically in the past decade. Many conversations now happen through text messages, video calls, or voice notes. People share their thoughts instantly, often without thinking deeply. At the same time, real face-to-face conversations sometimes become less frequent. This shift affects language in interesting ways. Because we communicate so quickly, many people use shorter sentences, simpler expressions, or emojis to express emotions. But when it comes to advanced English, you need to go beyond short messages. You need to express opinions, explain your reasoning, agree and disagree politely, and talk about complex issues using clear structure and precise vocabulary. Let's practice this idea with a few questions. As you listen, try to answer in your mind or speak out loud. How has technology changed the way you communicate with people? Do you feel communication today is better or worse than it was in the past? Do you think social media helps us stay connected, or does it make conversations more shallow? These questions require more than simple yes or no answers. They push you to explain, expand, and justify your ideas. That's exactly the kind of thinking you need at the C1 and C2 levels. For example, instead of saying, "Technology is helpful," an advanced learner might say, "Technology has definitely changed the way I communicate. On one hand, it allows me to stay in touch with people easily. On the other hand, I sometimes feel conversations have become less personal." Notice the structure. On one hand and on the other hand. These transitions help you sound organized and fluent. As we continue through the video, you'll hear many expressions like this. Try to repeat them when possible. Let's shift to another related topic: the importance of active listening. At advanced levels, speaking is only half of communication. The other half is the ability to listen carefully, understand details, and respond appropriately. Have you ever noticed how some people listen only to reply, not to understand? They wait for their turn to speak, but they don't fully process what the other person is saying. Active listening means paying attention not just to the words, but also to the tone, the intention, and the emotion behind the message. When learning English, this skill helps you understand fast speech, advanced phrases, idioms, and subtle meanings. It also helps you respond more naturally. For example, if someone says, "I've been overwhelmed lately," an advanced learner doesn't respond with a simple, "Okay." Instead, they might say, "I'm sorry to hear that. Is it because of work?" This shows understanding, empathy, and fluency. In this video, you'll hear many real-life expressions like, "I've been meaning to," "I can relate to that," "That caught me off guard," and "I wouldn't go that far, but I see your point." These are expressions used by fluent speakers every day, and they help you sound more natural and confident. As we move forward, remember that the goal isn't to memorize everything. The goal is to let English flow through your mind, to let it become familiar, comfortable, and natural. The more you expose yourself to real English, the faster you'll achieve C1 and C2 levels. As we continue this advanced English practice, let's move into a topic that is extremely important for C1 and C2 learners: expressing complex ideas clearly and naturally. At advanced levels, it's not just about understanding difficult vocabulary. It's about using language to communicate thoughts that are subtle, layered, and meaningful. Think about this for a moment. In your native language, when you're discussing a deep topic, maybe something about society, relationships, personal growth, or global issues, you probably use nuanced expressions without even realizing it. You might say things like, "It's not that simple," "It depends on the context," or "There's more to it than that." In English, advanced speakers use similar phrasings. For example, "It's a bit more complicated than it seems." "There are several factors to consider." "I understand where you're coming from, but I see it differently." "That's a valid point." Although I'd argue, these kinds of expressions show maturity, clarity, and depth. They help you participate in meaningful conversations rather than superficial ones. Now, let's explore a real-world topic that many people around the world can relate to: how expectations shape our daily lives. Expectations from family, society, work, or even from ourselves can influence how we think and behave. This topic is very common in advanced English discussions because it touches emotions, psychology, and life experience. Let's reflect on a few questions. Answers in your mind or out loud will help you train your fluency. What expectations do you feel from the people around you? Do you think these expectations help you grow, or do they add pressure? How do expectations affect your confidence or your decisions? These questions require more than simple vocabulary. They require explanation, examples, and reflections. Something C1 and C2 learners must practice often. For example, an advanced speaker might say, "I believe expectations can be both motivating and stressful. On one hand, they push us to reach our potential. On the other hand, they can create pressure that affects our mental well-being." This kind of structure mirrors the way native speakers express complex opinions. Notice how the sentence uses balance, comparison, and nuance. These elements help you move from intermediate English to advanced English. Now, let's explore natural conversation flow, something that many advanced learners want to master. A common struggle is feeling like your speech is too formal or too stiff. At high levels, you want to sound natural, not robotic or overly academic. One way to do this is by using small conversational tools that native speakers use without thinking. Expressions like, "Actually, now that you mention it, that reminds me of something. To be honest, I've never thought about it that way. If I had to guess, I'd say, what surprised me was..." These phrases make your speech smoother and more dynamic. They help you sound more like you're thinking in English rather than translating. Throughout this video, you'll hear many expressions like these so your brain becomes familiar with them. Let's shift to another topic that advanced English speakers often discuss: personal growth and long-term goals. Whether someone comes from South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, or the Middle East, Almost everyone wants to improve their life in some way: career, relationships, health, or personal development. Here are some questions that push you to think in English. What long-term goals are most important to you right now? Do you believe people can truly change, or do you think personality stays the same? What's one area of your life you want to improve this year? Advanced English isn't just about vocabulary, it's about expressing emotions, motivation, and introspection. Let's take one example. I've been trying to become more disciplined with my time. It's not easy, but I'm slowly improving. I've realized that small, consistent habits make a big difference in the long run. This is natural, detailed, and emotionally honest. It sounds like a real human expressing a real struggle, exactly the kind of fluency you want. Let's move to another essential advanced skill: handling disagreements politely. In many countries, people avoid arguments. In others, debates are normal. But in English, it's important to disagree without sounding rude or aggressive. Here are some polite yet advanced ways to express disagreement. I see your point, but I'm not completely convinced. That's an interesting perspective, though I'd interpret it differently. I respect your opinion, but I have a slightly different take. I understand what you mean, although I don't fully agree. These expressions show confidence, respect, and clarity, key characteristics of C1 and C2 communication. Now let's move into an interesting and highly relatable topic: how routines shape our confidence. Many people underestimate how daily routines influence their ability to speak a language. The truth is, confidence doesn't come from perfection. It comes from consistency. The more you expose yourself to English daily, the more natural and effortless your speech becomes. Let's think about your routine. Do you practice English intentionally, or only when you have free time? Do you listen to English during tasks like exercising, cooking, or commuting? The more English you absorb passively, the easier active speaking becomes. Here's a useful advanced sentence pattern. The more I practice, the more confident I feel. The more I listen, the more natural everything sounds. The more I challenge myself, the more progress I notice. This the more structure is very common in natural English, and mastering it helps you sound more fluent instantly. Now, let's explore a meaningful topic that touches almost everyone: finding balance in life. With work, family, school, relationships, and personal goals, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. Advanced conversations often involve discussing balance, priorities, and decision-making. Try to answer this question in your mind. Do you feel your life is balanced, or do you feel pulled in many directions? A natural advanced answer might sound like this: lately, I've been trying to find a better balance. I realized I was focusing too much on work and not enough on my well-being. So now I'm learning to slow down and take things one step at a time. Expressions like take things one step at a time, slow down, and find balance are extremely common in daily English. As we continue, we'll explore even deeper topics, more advanced structures, and more natural expressions to help you reach C1 and C2 levels. As we move forward in this advanced English practice, let's explore a topic that almost every learner finds relatable: how our environment influences the way we speak, think, and react. Whether you live in a quiet town, a busy city, or somewhere in between, the world around you shapes your communication style in interesting ways. For example, if you live in a fast-paced environment, you might naturally speak more quickly or more directly. If your culture values politeness or indirect communication, you might express opinions more gently or cautiously. Understanding these patterns helps you become aware of how you use English and how you can adjust your style depending on the situation. Let's start with a few reflective questions. Do you think your environment affects the way you communicate in English? Do you feel more confident speaking English at home, at school, at work, or with friends? How does the atmosphere around you influence your level of fluency? These questions push you to think deeper, which is essential at the C1 and C2 levels. Advanced English is not only about grammar, it's about self-awareness and communication strategy. Now, let's talk about something that many advanced learners underestimate: the power of storytelling. At high levels, one of the best ways to show fluency is by telling stories smoothly. Stories about your day, your past experiences, your challenges, or even your dreams for the future. When you tell a story well in English, you show control of tenses, transitions, emotions, and descriptive vocabulary. Here are some natural storytelling expressions. Let me tell you about something interesting that happened recently. I'll never forget the moment when, looking back, I realized that at first, I didn't understand what was happening, but then, eventually, I figured things out. These phrases create a natural flow, helping listeners follow your thoughts clearly. Let's practice this idea with a simple reflection. Think about a moment from your life, maybe something surprising, funny, stressful, or meaningful. Now try to describe it using English in your mind. Use transitions like, at first, after a while, in the end. What surprised me was, the strange thing is. This helps you build confidence and practice real-life storytelling, which is a powerful component of advanced fluency. Now, let's dive into another essential skill for C1 and C2 learners: using precise vocabulary. At advanced levels, you don't need complicated words. You need accurate ones. For example, instead of very important, advanced speakers might say crucial, essential, or significant. Instead of very big, they might say massive, enormous, or substantial. Instead of very small, they might say tiny, minimal, or limited. Instead of I don't like it, they might say it doesn't appeal to me. I'm not a big fan of it, or it's not really my thing. These choices help your speech become richer, clearer, and more expressive. Let's explore an advanced topic that appears often in real conversations: dealing with uncertainty. In life, we constantly make decisions without knowing exactly what will happen. Being able to express uncertainty in English is a sign of advanced fluency. Expressions like, I'm not entirely sure, but I think, it's hard to say for certain, although, My best guess is that, as far as I can tell, it seems likely that these expressions soften your speech, making it sound natural and thoughtful. Now, let's reflect on this idea more deeply. Life is full of uncertainty about the future, about work, about relationships, about opportunities. Expressing uncertainty in English shows emotional intelligence and nuance. Try answering these questions in your mind. What's something you've been unsure about lately? How do you deal with uncertainty in your life? Do you usually trust your instincts, or do you rely on facts and logic? At advanced levels, these reflections help you speak more naturally and thoughtfully. Now, let's shift to another important aspect of advanced English: showing empathy through language. Empathy is a human skill that no machine or translation app can replicate. When you express empathy, you show understanding, care, and emotional intelligence, qualities highly valued in C1 and C2 communication. Here are natural expressions of empathy. I can imagine how that must feel. That sounds really challenging. I'm sorry you had to go through that. I can relate to what you're saying. I've experienced something similar, so I understand. Using these phrases makes your English warmer, more human, and more connected. Now, let's explore a global topic that people everywhere can relate to: the fast pace of modern life. Many people today feel busier than ever. Whether you're a student, an employee, a parent, or someone building your own business, life can feel overwhelming. But this is also an opportunity to practice advanced vocabulary and expressions. For example, you can say, "I've been juggling multiple responsibilities lately. I feel like I'm constantly racing against time. I've been trying to slow down and reset my priorities. Life has been hectic, but I'm managing." These are expressions you'll hear in workplaces, universities, and daily life. Let's go deeper. One of the most important parts of advanced communication is being able to reflect on your experiences. Reflection helps you articulate thoughts clearly, which is essential at higher levels. Try answering these questions internally. What's one lesson you've learned recently? Is there something you wish you had handled differently? How have you grown over the past year? These reflective questions help your brain build stronger English connections. Now, let's explore a highly practical skill: making your speech more structured. Native speakers often organize their thoughts naturally using patterns like "first of all," "secondly," "on top of that," "in contrast," "to sum up." Using these structures helps your English sound organized and polished, especially in academic or professional contexts. Before we move to part 4, let's end this section with a key reminder. Advanced English is not about perfection. It's about clarity, confidence, and connection. It's about expressing who you are, what you think, and how you see the world. As we continue on this journey toward advanced English fluency, let's shift into a topic that challenges many learners around the world: developing confidence when expressing your true thoughts and opinions in English. At C1 and C2 levels, fluency isn't just about vocabulary. It's about feeling comfortable sharing your ideas the same way you would in your native language. Think about this. Have you ever had a moment when you understood everything in English but didn't know how to express your opinions smoothly? Maybe the words felt stuck, or you weren't sure how to phrase your thoughts in a natural way. This barrier is common, especially for learners who are transitioning into advanced speaking. To help with this, let's explore some natural expressions that advanced speakers use when giving opinions. If you ask me, from my perspective, as far as I'm concerned, to be completely honest, I'm of the opinion that these phrases help you start your sentences confidently and give your speech structure and flow. They also signal that what follows is thoughtful and intentional. Let's practice with a few real-world questions. Think about them and try to answer in English. What's something you strongly believe in? What's a habit you think everyone should develop? What's one thing people often misunderstand about you? Training yourself to express these deeper ideas naturally is one of the keys to reaching C1 and C2. Now, let's shift to a topic that advanced learners often find fascinating: the psychology of communication. At a high level, language is not just information. It's emotion, identity, culture, and connection. Every time you communicate in English, you're not just forming sentences, you're building relationships, expressing personality, and shaping how others perceive you. For example, the way you say something can change the entire meaning. Compare these two responses. Yes, I guess. Versus, I think that would work really well. The first sounds unsure. The second sounds confident and engaged. At advanced levels, tone matters as much as vocabulary. You want to sound like someone who participates in the conversation, not someone who simply reacts to it. To improve your communication psychology, practice using assertive yet polite phrases. I'd prefer if we could. One thing I'd like to add is, I completely agree with that point. I'm not entirely sure about that, but here's how I see it. These expressions elevate your English to a more mature and professional level. Let's move to another important topic: expressing complex emotions. At advanced levels, you need more than happy, sad, angry, or tired. You want to capture subtle feelings like, I'm a bit overwhelmed. I feel conflicted about that. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm feeling a little out of my depth. I'm genuinely impressed. These expressions help you communicate more precisely and naturally, especially in emotional or personal conversations. Now, let's explore a topic that affects almost everyone: time management and productivity in modern life. With screens, notifications, deadlines, and responsibilities pulling us in every direction, many people struggle to balance everything. Here are some advanced expressions related to this topic. I've been trying to prioritize my tasks more effectively. I tend to procrastinate when I feel stressed. I'm learning to set healthier boundaries with my time. I've realized I need to manage my energy, not just my schedule. These are phrases you'll hear in workplace conversations, coaching sessions, and academic discussions. Let's pause for a moment and reflect. How do you currently manage your time? Do you feel productive, or do you often feel rushed? What's one habit you want to improve to use your time better? Thinking about meaningful questions like these helps you build deeper, more expressive English. Now let's explore a topic that people worldwide experience: building and maintaining meaningful relationships. Whether friendships, family connections, or professional relationships, communication is the foundation of connection. Advanced English helps you maintain healthy, respectful, and supportive relationships in many environments. Here are natural phrases to strengthen relationship-based communication. I really appreciate the effort you put in. I value your honesty. I understand what you're going through. I'm grateful for your support. Let me know how I can help. These expressions show emotional maturity and warmth, key components of advanced communication. Let's go deeper. Many psychologists say that strong relationships rely on understanding, patience, and the ability to express emotions clearly. When you communicate well, you avoid misunderstandings, resolve conflicts faster, and create more trust with the people around you. Try answering these reflective questions. What qualities do you value most in a friend? How do you try to maintain strong connections with the people you care about? What's one thing you wish people understood better about your communication style? Questions like these help you explore your inner thoughts in English, training your fluency at a deeper level. Next, let's discuss one of the most important skills at C1 and C2: summarizing and paraphrasing. Advanced English speakers don't always repeat things word for word. They rephrase ideas naturally. For example, instead of, "He said he can't come because he's busy," an advanced speaker might say, "He mentioned that he wouldn't make it due to a busy schedule." Instead of, "The book is about how people think," an advanced speaker might say, "The book explores human thought and behavior." Paraphrasing helps you sound more natural, more flexible, and more confident. Before we close this part, let's end with a key idea. Advanced English is not about sounding perfect. It's about expressing yourself authentically, thoughtfully, and confidently. As you listen, absorb the rhythm, the expressions, and the natural flow. This repeated exposure is what brings you closer to C1 and C2 fluency. As we continue this advanced English journey, let's dive into a topic that matters deeply to people around the world: making meaningful progress in life and staying motivated even when things get difficult. At C1 and C2 levels, speaking about motivation, challenges, and personal development is very common, whether in job interviews, university discussions, or everyday conversations. Let's begin with something simple but powerful. Everyone wants to improve, but not everyone knows how to keep going when progress feels slow. This is true for language learning, career growth, fitness goals, almost everything in life. English fluency develops in the same way. Some days you feel confident, other days you struggle to express simple thoughts. And that's completely normal. Here's an advanced expression that captures this idea. Progress isn't always visible, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. Or, growth often happens beneath the surface, long before we notice it. These kinds of phrases show depth, emotional awareness, and sophisticated language control, hallmarks of advanced English. Let's take a moment to reflect. Think about something you've been trying to improve recently. It could be your English, your health, your relationships, or your career. Ask yourself, what motivates you to keep going? What discourages you? How do you handle setbacks? These are deep questions that require emotional expression, and practicing them in English strengthens your fluency. Now, let's explore a topic that advanced learners love: self-discipline and consistency. Many people assume that successful language learners have natural talent. But in reality, fluency comes from consistent habits, not perfection. Here are some natural advanced expressions related to consistency. I've been trying to stay consistent, even on days when I don't feel motivated. I'm working on developing better habits, one step at a time. I've realized that discipline is more reliable than motivation. I'm learning to build routines that support my long-term goals. These expressions are especially useful when talking about personal growth or lifestyle changes. Let's move into something even more practical: handling stress and mental load. In modern life, stress is one of the most common challenges people face. Whether it's pressure from work, school, family, or social expectations, stress affects how we speak, how we think, and how we behave. Here are some advanced, natural expressions describing stress. I've been feeling a bit overwhelmed lately. I'm trying to manage my stress more effectively. I've been under a lot of pressure these days. I need to slow down and take a breather. I'm doing my best to stay grounded. These sentences help you express subtle emotions without sounding dramatic or unnatural. Let's pause for a moment and reflect. What's been the biggest source of stress in your life recently? How do you usually cope with pressure? Do you tend to face problems directly, or do you avoid them? Thinking in English while answering these questions strengthens your reasoning and emotional expression, essential skills at advanced levels. Now, let's talk about a topic that is incredibly useful for C1 and C2 learners: expressing contrasts and comparing ideas. In advanced conversations, you often need to show balance, contrast, or nuance. Here are some natural structures native speakers use. Although I agree with that point, I think, while that may be true, it's also important to consider, on the contrary, in comparison. Despite that, I believe. Learning to use these helps you speak with depth and sophistication. Let's try applying this with a relatable topic: work-life balance. Many people around the world struggle to balance their responsibilities with their personal lives. An advanced response might sound like, although I understand the importance of working hard, I also believe that rest is essential. Without a healthy balance, productivity and well-being both suffer. This type of sentence shows clarity, nuance, and maturity in your English. Next, let's explore mindset, a topic that influences every aspect of communication. A strong mindset helps you learn faster, stay motivated, and handle challenges effectively. Here are some natural advanced expressions about mindset. I'm learning to shift my mindset and focus on solutions rather than problems. I've been trying to view setbacks as opportunities for growth. I'm working on developing a more positive, resilient attitude. I've realized that mindset has a huge impact on how I experience challenges. These expressions show emotional intelligence and thoughtful communication. Now, let's move into a topic that truly stretches your advanced English: discussing global issues in a balanced, thoughtful way. C1 and C2 speakers often need to talk about topics like the economy, climate change, culture, education, or social trends without sounding extreme or simplistic. For example, it's clear that globalization has brought both benefits and challenges. From a broader perspective, this issue is more complex than it appears. One could argue that technology has improved our lives, but it has also created new concerns. There's no simple solution, but open dialogue is a good starting point. These types of statements help you sound mature, analytical, and fluent. Let's reflect on a few deeper questions. Answer them in your mind. How has technology changed life in your country? Do you think people today are happier or more stressed than past generations? Is your society moving in a positive direction, or do you feel concerned? These reflections help you practice expressing thoughtful, balanced opinions. Before we wrap up this section, let's focus on one more advanced skill: expressing future hopes and ambitions. At C1 and C2 levels, you want to express dreams and intentions in a natural way. In the future, I hope to broaden my opportunities. I'd like to challenge myself more professionally. One of my long-term goals is to improve my communication skills. I'm planning to push myself out of my comfort zone. These expressions help you talk about your future with confidence and clarity. This sets a strong foundation for the next section, where we'll explore deeper emotional topics, real-life dialogues, and advanced communication patterns that mimic natural English. As we continue this advanced English practice, let's dive into an area that becomes increasingly important as learners approach C1 and C2 levels: identity and self-expression. Advanced English isn't just about being correct, it's about being yourself in another language. It's about expressing your humor, your personality, your opinions, and your worldview naturally. Let's start with a question that many advanced learners struggle with. Do you feel like you sound like your real self when you speak English? For many people, the answer is not yet. Some feel less confident, others feel too formal, and some feel like their English personality is completely different from their personality in their native language. This is normal and it changes with practice. Here are some natural expressions that help you express identity more authentically. I'm the kind of person who... I've always been someone who values... One thing people often misunderstand about me is... What really matters to me is... These phrases help you sound more natural and introspective, an essential skill in advanced speaking. Let's explore a topic that connects deeply with identity: culture. Culture shapes the way we see the world, how we communicate, and how we interpret messages from others. When you speak English at an advanced level, you're not only using the language, you're understanding cultural nuances. Consider these questions. How does your culture influence the way you communicate? Do you come from a direct or indirect communication style? Do people in your culture express emotions openly or more privately? Reflecting on cultural differences helps you understand why certain English expressions feel comfortable or uncomfortable for you. For example, imagine someone asks you a personal question. Depending on your culture, you might respond, "I'd rather not talk about that." Or, "Oh, sure, let me explain." Both are completely natural, but the choice depends on your comfort level and cultural background. Let's move into another advanced topic: describing complex experiences. At higher levels, you need to describe not just what happened, but how it felt, why it mattered, and what you learned from it. Here are some advanced storytelling tools. It was one of those moments that really stayed with me. I didn't realize it at the time, but looking back, it taught me a valuable lesson. It felt like a turning point in my life. That experience shaped the way I see things today. These expressions make your English richer and more nuanced. Now, let's explore a topic that people around the world can relate to: dealing with changes. Life changes constantly. New jobs, new environments, new people, new challenges. And these changes give you meaningful opportunities to use advanced English phrases. Here are some natural expressions related to change. I'm still adjusting to the new situation. It took me a while to get used to it. I've been trying to adapt as best as I can. It was a big transition, but I handled it step by step. These are extremely common in native-level conversations. Take a moment to reflect in English. What's a recent change in your life? Was it difficult or exciting? How did you adapt to it? Thinking through these questions in English strengthens your advanced speaking skills. Now, let's explore something that many advanced learners want: speaking more smoothly without hesitating. One of the secrets to doing this is using conversation fillers and natural pauses. These are not mistakes. They're what native speakers do to sound natural. Here are some examples. Let me think for a second. To be honest, well, the thing is, if I'm being completely straightforward, using these phrases gives your brain a moment to think while keeping your speech flowing naturally. Let's now dive into a topic that is essential for expressing maturity and emotional intelligence: handling conflict or disagreement respectfully. Here are advanced, polite ways to disagree or express limits. I see your point, but I have a different perspective. I understand where you're coming from, although I don't fully agree. I appreciate your opinion, but I see things a bit differently. I'm not comfortable with that, to be honest. I don't think that approach works for me. These expressions allow you to protect your boundaries while still sounding calm and respectful. Next, let's talk about goal setting and ambition, something that advanced learners often express in job interviews, academic settings, and personal conversations. Here are some natural advanced expressions. I'm working toward improving my long-term career prospects. One of my main goals this year is to expand my skill set. I'm aiming to challenge myself more intellectually. I want to reach a point where I can express myself effortlessly in English. These kinds of sentences show confidence and clear direction. Now let's explore something deeper and more reflective: how your past shapes your present. Advanced conversation often involves reflecting on childhood, past decisions, old habits, or key life events. Here are some natural advanced expressions. Growing up, I didn't fully appreciate. One thing my childhood taught me was, in hindsight, I realized that experience had a significant influence on who I am today. Reflecting in English helps you develop emotional fluency. Let's pause and reflect. Is there an event from your past that changed you? What did you learn from it? How does it affect the way you think today? These are the types of reflections that build true C1 and C2 fluency. To close this section, remember this: advanced English isn't about big words. It's about depth, clarity, and confidence. It's about expressing who you are, your personality, your emotions, your experiences, in a natural and meaningful way. As we continue this advanced English practice, let's move into a topic that plays a major role in high-level communication: understanding subtle meaning and reading between the lines. At C1 and C2 levels, people don't always say exactly what they mean. Instead, they hint, imply, or express thoughts indirectly. Being able to recognize this is a sign of true fluency. For example, imagine someone says, "I might need some help with this if you're not too busy." They're not just asking for help. They're also being polite, considering your schedule, and trying not to sound demanding. Advanced English speakers notice the tone, intention, and emotion behind the words. Here are some expressions that often carry subtle meaning. "It's fine, don't worry about it." Often means, "It's not actually fine, but I don't want to argue." That's interesting. Can mean, "I disagree, but I'm being polite." "I'll think about it." Often means, "Probably no, but I don't want to say it directly." "You're welcome to join us if you'd like." Meaning, "I'm inviting you, but I don't want to pressure you." Learning to understand these hidden meanings helps you communicate smoothly in both personal and professional situations. Let's explore this deeper with a few reflective questions. Do people in your country speak directly, or do they speak indirectly? Have you ever misunderstood someone because of subtle expressions? Do you prefer communication that is clear or communication that is diplomatic? These are topics often discussed among advanced English speakers because communication style varies greatly around the world. Now, let's shift to a skill that truly separates intermediate speakers from advanced speakers: expressing complex reactions. Instead of using simple phrases like "that's nice" or "that's bad," advanced speakers express reactions with nuance. Here are some examples. "That caught me off guard." "I wasn't expecting that at all." "That actually makes a lot of sense." "I can see why you'd feel that way." "That must have been difficult to deal with." These expressions are natural and widely used by native speakers. Let's move on to another essential topic: building strong conversational flow. At advanced levels, conversation isn't just about speaking. It's about maintaining rhythm, responding naturally, and keeping the interaction alive. Here are some tools that help. Softening your opinions. I might be wrong, but it seems to me that, if I'm being honest, showing interest. Really? What happened next? That sounds fascinating. Tell me more. How did you handle that? Extending the conversation. Speaking of that reminds me of... Now that you mention it, these are the kinds of expressions that help you hold long, meaningful conversations. Now let's explore a topic that people across the world relate to deeply: dealing with emotional fatigue. Our modern world is fast, competitive, and filled with expectations. Many people carry emotional pressure quietly. Being able to talk about this in English requires advanced emotional vocabulary. Here are some expressions. I've been mentally drained lately. I'm trying to recharge and take better care of myself. I've been feeling disconnected. I'm overwhelmed, but I'm managing. I'm working on protecting my peace. These sentences help you express emotional reality in a mature and natural way. Let's pause for reflection. What do you usually do when you feel emotionally tired? Do you talk to someone or do you stay quiet? How do you take care of your mental well-being? Thinking through these questions in English helps you develop emotional fluency and self-awareness. Now let's turn to something lighter but equally important. Talking about daily routines in a detailed, advanced way. Many learners think daily routines are simple topics, but at C1 and C2 levels, you can describe them with much more depth. For example, instead of saying, "I wake up and go to work," an advanced speaker might say, "I usually start my morning slowly, giving myself a few minutes to get mentally ready for the day. Then I head to work where I try to organize my priorities before things get too busy." See how much richer and more natural that sounds? Let's explore advanced ways to describe routines. I've been trying to create healthier habits lately. My mornings are usually chaotic, but I'm working on improving them. I take a few minutes each day to reflect and plan ahead. I try to end my day with something relaxing. These are the kinds of expressions people use in real conversations everywhere in the world. Now, let's move to a topic that advanced speakers often enjoy discussing: personal philosophy. Your personal philosophy includes your beliefs about happiness, success, relationships, discipline, and how to live a meaningful life. Here are some natural ways to express personal philosophy. I try to remind myself that progress matters more than perfection. I believe that small acts of kindness can change someone's day. I've learned that comparison only makes life harder. One principle I try to follow is to stay grateful, no matter what happens. These expressions show maturity and clarity in your communication. Take a moment to reflect. What beliefs guide your life? What do you value most right now? Has your philosophy changed over the years? Thinking about these topics in English strengthens your high-level fluency and emotional vocabulary. Before we close this part, let's introduce one more key skill for advanced learners: expressing doubt, hesitation, and uncertainty naturally. Here are some common expressions. I'm not entirely convinced. I'm still weighing my options. I'm torn between two choices. I haven't made up my mind yet. I'm uncertain, but I'm open to possibilities. These expressions help you communicate clearly even when you don't have a definite answer, something native speakers do all the time. This brings us to the end of Part 7. In the next section, we'll explore deeper discussions, more emotional topics, natural storytelling, and additional advanced expressions that help you sound fully fluent. As we continue this advanced English practice, let's explore a topic that plays a major role in deep, meaningful conversations: understanding yourself and your emotional patterns. At C1 and C2 levels, people often talk about not only what they do, but why they do it. They talk about their fears, motivations, reactions, and personal growth. Let's begin with a perspective many people share. Sometimes we don't fully understand our own reactions until much later. Something happens, we respond emotionally, and only afterward do we think, "Why did I act like that?" This type of emotional reflection is common in advanced English discussions because it requires complex thought and rich vocabulary. Here are some advanced expressions for emotional self-awareness. I've realized I tend to overthink things more than I should. I'm learning to recognize my triggers and manage them better. I've noticed that I shut down when I feel overwhelmed. I'm trying to understand where these emotions are coming from. I've been reflecting on my behavior lately, and it's been eye-opening. These phrases help you talk about emotions in a deep, honest, and sophisticated way. Let's pause and reflect. Do you often analyze your emotions? Are you aware of your own patterns? Or do you usually just go with the flow? Have you learned anything new about yourself recently? Thinking about these questions in English strengthens your ability to express subtle internal experiences. Now, let's shift into something incredibly useful for advanced communicators: the skill of expressing encouragement and support. In English-speaking cultures, offering support verbally is very common, whether in friendships, the workplace, or daily life. Being able to encourage someone naturally is a strong sign of fluency. Here are some advanced supportive expressions. I know things are tough right now, but I'm confident you'll get through this. You've made more progress than you realize. I genuinely believe in your abilities. Don't underestimate how far you've come. You're doing better than you give yourself credit for. These phrases help you create warmth, empathy, and emotional connection. Next, let's explore a topic that advanced speakers frequently discuss: the impact of culture and environment on personal growth. Our backgrounds influence our values, our habits, our dreams, and even the pace at which we live. Consider these questions. Do you come from a fast-paced or slow-paced culture? Do people in your country value independence or community more? How has your cultural background shaped your ambitions? These are deeper questions that help you reflect on your identity and express your thoughts in English more confidently. Let's move to another essential topic for advanced communication: decision-making. At C1 and C2 levels, you need to express how you make decisions, how you evaluate choices, and how you think about consequences. Here are some useful expressions. I'm weighing the pros and cons before making a final decision. I'm trying to think things through carefully. I tend to follow my intuition when the situation is unclear. I prefer to gather as much information as possible before deciding. I'm still considering all my options. These sentences help you sound thoughtful and balanced. Now, let's explore a universal theme: learning from failure. Everyone fails at some point. What matters is what we learn, how we respond, and how we move forward. Discussing failure in English requires emotional maturity and advanced vocabulary. Here are some powerful expressions. It was a setback, but it pushed me to grow. That experience taught me a lesson I really needed. At first, I was disappointed, but eventually I found clarity. Looking back, I'm grateful things didn't go as planned. It wasn't easy, but it helped me develop resilience. These expressions show depth and reflect real human experience. Let's pause to reflect. What's a failure you learned something valuable from? How did it change your perspective? Did it help you become stronger or more self-aware? Thinking through this in English helps you practice emotional storytelling. Now let's move into a topic that appears often in advanced conversations: navigating uncertainty about the future. People everywhere wonder what lies ahead: career changes, life paths, relationships, dreams, opportunities. Advanced speakers express this using natural phrases like, "I'm unsure what the future holds, but I'm staying optimistic." "I'm trying to stay open to new possibilities." "I don't have everything figured out yet, but I'm taking things one day at a time." "I'm exploring different paths and seeing where they lead." "I'm learning to be flexible with my expectations." These expressions sound natural, confident, and emotionally balanced. Next, let's talk about an advanced skill essential for both professional and personal conversations: giving constructive feedback. Many English learners hesitate because they don't want to sound rude. But with the right expressions, you can give feedback politely and respectfully. Here are natural expressions. One thing that could improve is, "Have you considered trying?" "I think it might help if." "Something you did really well was." Your effort is clear, and with a few adjustments, this could be even stronger. These are excellent for workplace discussions, group projects, and everyday interactions. Now let's explore something lighter: sparking interesting conversations. At advanced levels, you want to discuss a wide range of topics, not just basics like food or weather. Here are conversation starters advanced speakers use. What's something you've been curious about lately? Have you read or watched anything thought-provoking recently? What's a belief you held in the past but changed your mind about? What's something you're looking forward to? These questions lead to meaningful, enjoyable conversations that help you practice sophisticated English. Before we close this section, let's focus on one more important skill: expressing gratitude with depth and sincerity. Here are advanced expressions. "I truly appreciate your kindness." "Thank you for taking the time to help me. It means a lot to me." "I'm grateful for your support and understanding." "I don't take your effort for granted." These expressions make your communication more heartfelt and natural. As we continue this advanced English practice, let's shift into a topic that becomes essential for C1 and C2 fluency: persuasive communication. Persuasion isn't about arguing or forcing someone to agree. It's about presenting your ideas clearly, logically, and respectfully so others can understand your point of view. In everyday life, persuasion appears everywhere. Convincing someone to try something new, expressing why you think a certain choice is better, or sharing your opinion in a discussion. At advanced levels, you need language that helps you express your thoughts persuasively without sounding aggressive or emotional. Here are some natural persuasive expressions. One reason I believe this is because, based on what I've observed, the evidence suggests that. What makes me think this is. From a practical standpoint, these phrases allow you to sound confident and logical while still remaining polite and open-minded. Let's explore an example. Imagine you're trying to explain why learning English daily is more effective than studying only once a week. Instead of saying, "It's better to learn every day," an advanced speaker might say, "One clear advantage of daily practice is that it helps you retain information longer. The consistency keeps your brain actively engaged, which leads to faster progress." This kind of reasoning demonstrates mature, persuasive communication. Now, let's move into a topic that shows emotional intelligence: handling misunderstandings. No matter how fluent you are, misunderstandings happen, especially in a second language. What matters is how you respond when they do. Here are advanced expressions for resolving misunderstandings calmly. "Sorry, I think there might have been a misunderstanding. Let me clarify what I meant. I may not have expressed that clearly. Let me rephrase it. I see what you mean. Let's make sure we're on the same page. Thanks for pointing that out. Here's what I was trying to say." These phrases help you stay composed, respectful, and clear. Now let's explore another important advanced skill: expressing subtle emotions. Intermediate speakers use simple emotional words like happy, sad, or angry. Advanced speakers use more specific feelings. "I'm feeling a bit uncertain." "I'm quietly excited about this opportunity." "I'm slightly irritated, but it's manageable." "I feel a mixture of relief and worry." "I'm emotionally exhausted, but I'm staying hopeful." These phrases help you communicate more accurately and naturally. At C1 and C2 levels, emotional precision is a powerful tool. It deepens your conversations and makes your English feel alive. Let's pause and reflect. What subtle emotions have you felt recently? Do you find it easy or difficult to express these emotions in English? How do you want to improve your emotional vocabulary? Thinking through this helps you build deeper fluency. Now, let's transition to another core topic: professional English. Advanced learners often need English for work, meetings, presentations, interviews, or communicating with international teams. The key is sounding both professional and natural. Here are some advanced workplace expressions. I'd like to highlight an important point. Let's take a closer look at the data. To move forward effectively, we should... Could you clarify what you meant by that? One potential solution we could explore is... These expressions help you sound confident and capable in professional environments. Let's imagine a common workplace scenario. Someone shares a proposal and you want to respond professionally. Instead of saying, "I don't like it," you could say, "I appreciate the idea, though I have some concerns about how practical it is. Maybe we could explore an alternative approach." This phrasing shows professionalism, respect, and advanced fluency. Now let's shift into a topic people find relatable worldwide: navigating modern life pressures. Technology, expectations, financial responsibilities, and constant comparison can make people feel overwhelmed. Being able to talk about these issues in English helps you express your thoughts naturally. Here are some advanced expressions. I've been feeling the pressure to keep up with everything. It's hard not to compare myself to others sometimes. I feel like modern life moves faster than I can handle. I'm trying to disconnect from digital noise when possible. I've been working on finding healthier ways to cope with stress. These sentences appear often in real, meaningful conversations with native speakers. Now let's explore a powerful topic: personal transformation. People change over time through new experiences, challenges, relationships, or opportunities. At advanced levels, you need language to express this growth. Here are some nuanced expressions. I'm not the same person I used to be. I've grown a lot in the past few years. My experiences have shaped me in unexpected ways. I've learned to set better boundaries. I've become more patient and less reactive. Talking about growth in this way shows introspection and emotional depth. Take a moment to reflect. How have you changed in the last few years? Are you proud of your growth? What transformation are you still working on? Thinking about these questions in English is excellent advanced level practice. Now, let's explore one of the most important advanced skills: using metaphors and figurative language. Native speakers use metaphors constantly, and mastering them helps you sound more expressive. Here are some natural metaphors. I feel like I'm carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. That opportunity slipped through my fingers. I'm turning over a new leaf. That experience opened my eyes. I'm walking into unfamiliar territory. These expressions appear in everyday conversation, movies, books, and professional settings. Next, let's talk about building deeper connections through conversation. Advanced English is not just about language. It's about relating to people, asking meaningful questions, and sharing experiences. Here are strong connection-building questions. What's something that changed your perspective recently? What do you value most in your life right now? When was the last time you stepped out of your comfort zone? What's a lesson life has taught you the hard way? These questions open the door to deeper, richer conversation. Before we end this section, let's focus on a final advanced skill: expressing long-term vision and future thinking. Here are useful expressions. I'm working toward a future where I feel more balanced. I hope to create a life that reflects my values. I want to challenge myself and reach my full potential. I'm building habits that my future self will appreciate. These expressions help you talk about dreams and ambitions with clarity and depth. As we continue this advanced English journey, let's move into another essential area for C1, C2 speakers, expressing complex thoughts clearly. At this level, it's not enough to know grammar. You need to articulate subtle ideas, explain reasoning, and express layered opinions. Let's begin with language that helps you present balanced viewpoints. Here are some natural expressions. On one hand, but on the other hand. While I understand that perspective, I see it slightly differently. I agree to some extent, though I have some reservations. It's a complicated issue with multiple sides worth considering. There's no simple answer, but here's how I see it. These phrases help you sound nuanced and thoughtful, which is essential for advanced communication. Now let's explore a topic that appears frequently in advanced conversations: life priorities. People often discuss what matters most to them: health, family, personal growth, career, freedom, stability, or happiness. Being able to express priorities clearly shows mature reasoning. Here are natural expressions. I'm trying to prioritize my well-being more these days. I've realized that peace of mind matters more to me than anything else. I'm focusing on long-term happiness rather than short-term gains. I'm learning to value experiences over material things. I'm trying to strike a balance between ambition and rest. These sentences help you express what truly matters to you. Let's pause and reflect. What are your priorities right now? Have they changed over the years? What do you want to prioritize moving forward? Thinking through these questions in English helps deepen your fluency. Now let's shift into an advanced conversational theme: human behavior and psychology. Many real discussions revolve around understanding why people act the way they do. This topic naturally invites complex vocabulary and structured thinking. Here are some useful expressions. People often act out of fear, even when they don't realize it. Our behavior is deeply influenced by our environment. It's easier to judge others than to understand them. People sometimes repeat unhealthy patterns without noticing. Most conflicts come from unmet expectations. These sentences help you explore psychological ideas with clarity. Let's go deeper into this topic with something universal: why people struggle to change. Change is uncomfortable. Even when we want to improve our habits, mindset, or lifestyle, we often fall back into old patterns. Here are some advanced ways to express this. Change requires consistency, which many people underestimate. It's difficult to grow when you're surrounded by the same environment. People often fear losing what's familiar, even if it isn't good for them. We tend to choose comfort over transformation. Real change starts with awareness, not perfection. These ideas help you explore deeper topics in English. Now let's explore a domain that advanced learners must master: explaining complex problems and solutions. This is especially useful for work, presentations, and debates. Here are some structured ways to present a problem. The main issue we're facing is: One factor contributing to this situation is what complicates the problem is the challenge lies in balancing these conflicting needs. And here are ways to present solutions. One possible approach would be a long-term solution might involve we could consider breaking the problem down into smaller steps. It may help to look at this issue from a different angle. These structures help you sound organized and intelligent. Next, let's move into a topic that advanced speakers love discussing: philosophy and deeper life questions. Philosophical conversations are powerful because they push you to think, expand your vocabulary, and express abstract ideas. Here are some philosophical prompts. What does it truly mean to live a meaningful life? Do you think people are shaped more by their choices or their circumstances? Is happiness something we create or something we discover? Why do we fear uncertainty when it's a natural part of life? Do you think humans are becoming more connected or more isolated? These kinds of questions make conversations more intellectually stimulating. Now let's move into an important aspect of C1, C2 English: emotional storytelling. Being able to describe personal experiences with emotion, detail, and reflection shows mastery. Here's a natural storytelling structure. Describe the situation. Explain how you felt. Highlight the conflict or challenge. Share the lesson or insight you gained. Let's look at an example. A few years ago, I faced a difficult decision that forced me to choose between stability and personal growth. At first, I felt anxious and uncertain, but eventually I realized that the risk was worth taking. That experience taught me that fear often hides opportunities. This kind of storytelling is authentic and compelling. Take a moment to reflect. What's an experience that changed you? What lesson did you learn from it? How would you describe it using the structure above? Thinking through this boosts your fluency dramatically. Now let's expand into a topic relevant to every advanced learner: building meaningful relationships. Healthy relationships depend on communication, empathy, trust, and vulnerability, topics that naturally require sophisticated language. Here are some expressions. I'm learning to communicate more openly with the people around me. I value relationships where both sides feel respected and understood. I'm trying to surround myself with people who encourage growth. I've realized that healthy boundaries strengthen relationships. I appreciate people who are genuine and emotionally intelligent. These ideas deepen your conversational skills. Now let's turn to something equally important: developing emotional resilience. Life is unpredictable, and advanced speakers often reflect on how they cope with challenges, stress, or setbacks. Here are some natural expressions. I'm learning to accept things I cannot control. I'm working on staying calm during difficult moments. I'm trying to respond instead of react. I'm focusing on solutions rather than problems. I've learned to be patient with my own progress. These sentences help you express emotional maturity. Next, let's explore the language of curiosity and exploration, another sign of advanced fluency. Curiosity keeps conversations alive and shows enthusiasm. Here are some natural expressions. I've always been fascinated by. I wonder what would happen if. I've been exploring the idea of. It makes me curious how. I'd love to understand more about. These phrases help you sound engaged and intelligent. Before we wrap up this section, let's focus on one more advanced communication skill: expressing doubt while staying confident. Here are natural expressions. I'm not entirely sure, but I think. I could be wrong, but my impression is. It's hard to say for certain, though it seems like. I don't have all the answers, but here's my perspective. I'm still figuring this out, but here's what I've noticed. These phrases make your English sound realistic, balanced, and thoughtful. This brings us to the end of Part 10. In the next section, we'll explore advanced conversational speed, natural transitions, deeper emotional vocabulary, and even more C1, C2 patterns to elevate your speaking. As we move forward with this advanced English practice, let's shift into a skill that separates intermediate speakers from truly advanced ones: speaking with natural transitions. Transitions help your speech flow smoothly. They connect ideas, guide the listener, and make your English sound polished and effortless. Here are some natural transition phrases. Speaking of that, this reminds me of something important. Now that we've talked about this, let's take it a step further. On a related note, to put it simply, let's look at it from another angle. Using transitions like these helps you sound coherent and confident, especially in long discussions, presentations, or storytelling. Now let's explore another advanced communication skill: expressing deep personal insights. At C1 and C2 levels, you need to express thoughts that are subtle, reflective, and emotionally rich. Here are some phrases advanced speakers use. I've realized something about myself recently. The older I get, the more I understand that. I've been rethinking the way I approach. One thing life has taught me is I'm beginning to see things differently now. These expressions help you sound introspective and thoughtful. Let's move into a topic that many learners find challenging: abstract thinking. Native speakers often talk about ideas, identity, motivation, relationships, culture, habits, fears, not just concrete things. This requires sophisticated language. Here are some great abstract thinking expressions. People often underestimate the impact of small habits. Identity is shaped by both our choices and our environment. We create meaning through the stories we tell ourselves. Growth usually happens outside our comfort zone. Most people don't realize how much their mindset affects their actions. Practicing these helps you go beyond surface-level English. Now let's explore something practical and important: expressing emotional boundaries. Healthy communication often requires setting limits politely. Advanced speakers must be able to say no or express discomfort without sounding rude. Here are some natural boundary-setting expressions. I'm not comfortable with that, but thank you for understanding. I'd prefer not to discuss that right now. I appreciate the offer, but I'll have to decline. That doesn't work for me. but I hope we can find another solution. I need some time to myself at the moment. Learning these phrases helps you communicate respectfully and protect your emotional space. Now let's shift to another essential skill, talking about long-term goals with clarity. At advanced levels, you need to articulate dreams, aspirations, and future plans in a structured way. Here are some natural phrases. I'm working toward building a more fulfilling life. One of my long-term goals is I hope to create opportunities that align with my values. I'm developing skills that will support my future ambitions. I'm trying to build consistency toward the life I envision. These expressions help you talk confidently about your future. Let's pause and reflect. What long-term goals do you have right now? Are they personal, professional, or emotional? What steps are you taking to move closer to them? Thinking about these questions in English helps deepen your fluency and clarity. Now let's explore one of the most important aspects of advanced communication. Talking about relationships with nuance. Relationships, friendships, family, romantic connections, work dynamics require emotional intelligence and careful language. Here are some advanced expressions. I'm learning to appreciate people who respect my boundaries. I value relationships where honesty and kindness go hand in hand. I'm trying to communicate more openly with the people I care about. I've realized that healthy relationships require effort from both sides. It's important for me to feel seen and understood. These sentences help you express emotional depth clearly. Now, let's shift to expressing motivation and discipline. Two topics people all over the world talk about. Here are some advanced ways to express these ideas. I'm trying to build habits that support my progress. I'm learning to stay disciplined even when motivation fades. I'm focusing on long-term consistency rather than short bursts of effort. I'm working on creating systems that keep me accountable. I'm trying to replace excuses with action. Expressions like these sound natural and powerful. Let's dive into a slightly different topic. Dealing with uncertainty in life. People often face choices without clear answers. Talking about uncertainty in English requires mature, balanced language. Here are some useful expressions. I don't have everything figured out yet, but I'm doing my best. I'm learning to embrace uncertainty rather than fear it. The future is unpredictable, but I'm staying hopeful. I'm trying to trust the process, even when the path isn't clear. I'm open to wherever life leads me. These sentences help you express complexity with calmness and clarity. Next, let's build your ability to use figurative and expressive language, which is essential for sounding natural. Here are more metaphors and expressions native speakers use. I feel like I'm standing at a crossroads. I'm trying to find the light at the end of the tunnel. It felt like a breath of fresh air. I'm carrying emotional baggage I need to let go of. That moment was a turning point in my life. Using these expressions gives your English a richer and more colorful tone. Now let's explore advanced conversational empathy. Responding in a way that shows understanding and emotional support. Here are some natural empathetic responses. I can see why you'd feel that way. That sounds really challenging. Thank you for sharing it. I understand why that would bother you. You handled that situation better than you realize. I'm here for you if you need anything. These responses help you build deeper, more meaningful connections in English. Next, let's talk about something extremely valuable at higher levels: the ability to express contradictions within yourself. Humans are complex. We often feel two opposite things at the same time. Being able to express this makes your English sound natural and nuanced. Here are some expressions. I'm excited, but also nervous. I'm grateful, yet I still feel overwhelmed. I'm confident in my skills, but I sometimes doubt myself. I want change, but I'm afraid of what it might bring. I feel both hopeful and uncertain. These expressions sound authentic and emotionally intelligent. Before we end this section, let's touch on one more advanced topic: describing personal growth through challenges. Here are some powerful expressions. That experience forced me to grow in ways I didn't expect. It taught me responsibility and discipline. I learned how strong I really am. It helped me understand myself on a deeper level. That challenge changed me in a meaningful way. Talking about personal growth like this shows emotional maturity and C2 level fluency. As we continue this advanced English practice, let's move into a skill that C1 and C2 speakers must master: advanced storytelling. Clear storytelling is important, but emotional storytelling is what truly captivates listeners and keeps them engaged. It transforms basic language into expressive, meaningful communication. Let's explore a natural structure used by fluent speakers. Set the scene. When and where did the event happen? Describe the emotion. How did you feel before, during, and after? Explain the conflict. What challenge or problem appeared? Show the turning point. What moment changed the situation? Share the insight. What did you learn from it? Here's an example of how an advanced speaker might tell a story. A few months ago, I went through a situation that pushed me outside my comfort zone. At first, I felt uncertain and overwhelmed because I wasn't sure how things would turn out. But then something shifted. I made one small decision that changed everything. Looking back now, I'm grateful because that experience helped me understand my own resilience. This style of storytelling is emotional, structured, and natural, and it keeps listeners interested. Now, let's explore one of the most sophisticated communication skills: expressing nuanced opinions. At C1 and C2 levels, opinions are rarely simple. They're layered, balanced, and supported with reasoning. Here are some useful phrases. I can see both sides of the issue, but I lean toward. While I acknowledge the benefits, I'm cautious about. It's a complex topic, and my thoughts are still evolving. I agree in principle, though the execution matters a lot. My perspective might be influenced by my own experiences. These sentences sound thoughtful, mature, and realistic. Let's take a moment to explore a topic many advanced speakers discuss: finding balance in life, balancing work and rest, ambition and peace, independence and connection. Here are some natural expressions. I'm trying to find a healthier balance between productivity and well-being. I've realized that constant busyness doesn't always lead to fulfillment. I'm learning to slow down without feeling guilty. I'm beginning to prioritize quality over quantity. I'm focusing on creating a lifestyle that supports my mental health. These expressions are common in real conversations around the world. Now, let's dive into one of the most important advanced skills: expressing disagreement respectfully. Disagreement is natural, but the way you express it shows your level of fluency and emotional intelligence. Here are polite disagreement phrases. I see your point, though I view it differently. I understand what you mean, but I'm not entirely convinced. That's an interesting perspective, but from my experience, I respect your opinion, though I'd like to offer another angle. I'm not sure I completely agree, but I appreciate the discussion. Notice how none of these phrases sound rude or confrontational. Now let's shift into something powerful: deep emotional vocabulary. Intermediate speakers often use basic words like happy, sad, or angry. But advanced speakers use more precise emotional language. Here are some emotional vocabulary upgrades. Instead of happy, say content, fulfilled, uplifted, in high spirits, deeply pleased. Instead of sad, say downhearted, disappointed, discouraged, emotionally drained, heavy-hearted. Instead of angry, say frustrated, irritated, upset, agitated, resentful. Instead of nervous, say uneasy, on edge, restless, anxious, unsettled. These words make your English far more expressive. Let's practice emotional precision with a short reflection. Think about something that happened recently. What emotion did you feel exactly? Was it frustration, relief, confusion, excitement? Try naming the emotion with greater detail. Now let's move on to another advanced topic: reflecting on past mistakes without judgment. This is an important part of emotional maturity and natural English communication. Here are some natural expressions. I didn't handle this situation perfectly, but I learned from it. I can see now that I reacted emotionally instead of thoughtfully. At the time, I didn't understand what I understand today. It was a mistake, but it helped me grow. I'm kinder to myself about it now. These expressions show clarity, honesty, and compassion. Next, let's explore another essential skill: expressing ambition and drive. People around the world want to grow, achieve, and improve. And advanced speakers must talk about these goals clearly. Here are some phrases. I'm pushing myself to reach a higher level. I want to challenge myself and step into bigger opportunities. I'm striving to develop skills that match my aspirations. I'm working on becoming a better version of myself. I'm doing everything I can to create a future I'm proud of. These sentences sound confident and inspiring. Now, let's move into a deeper topic: understanding personal limitations. Being honest about your limits isn't weakness, it's emotional intelligence. Here are natural expressions. I'm learning to accept that I can't do everything at once. I'm becoming more aware of my own limits. I'm trying not to overextend myself. I recognize that I need rest to function well. I'm learning to say no when necessary. These phrases help you sound self-aware and grounded. Let's shift into another advanced concept: adjusting your expectations. Humans often expect too much from themselves or others, which leads to frustration. Here are natural expressions. I'm trying to set more realistic expectations for myself. I've learned to let go of perfection. I'm adjusting my expectations to fit reality. I used to expect too much from people, but I'm learning to be more understanding. I'm giving myself space to grow gradually. These sentences show emotional maturity and depth. Now let's explore a topic relevant to everyone: overthinking. People around the world struggle with thinking too much, worrying too much, or analyzing everything. Here are some advanced expressions. I tend to get lost in my thoughts sometimes. I'm learning not to overanalyze every situation. My mind often jumps to the worst-case scenario. I'm trying to trust myself instead of overthinking everything. I've been practicing letting go of unnecessary worries. These are common in real conversations with native speakers. Before we end this section, let's focus on expressing hope and looking forward to the future. Another key part of advanced communication. Here are some phrases. I'm optimistic about what lies ahead. I'm hopeful that things will work out. I'm looking forward to new opportunities. I believe the future holds something meaningful for me. I'm excited to see how things unfold. These expressions help you end conversations on a positive, uplifting note. Here are some expressions fluent speakers use when they're unsure but still confident. I'm not entirely certain, but here's what I think. I may need to double-check this, but my understanding is I'm still figuring it out, but from my perspective, I'll try to explain it as clearly as I can. This is just my initial thought, but these phrases help you continue speaking smoothly without hesitation or panic. Now let's move into one of the most meaningful topics advanced speakers discuss: identity and purpose. People around the world are constantly thinking about who they are, what they want, and how they want to live. Talking about these subjects naturally requires deeper vocabulary and thoughtful expression. Here are some natural expressions. I'm still discovering who I am and who I want to become. My sense of purpose has shifted over the years. I'm trying to understand what truly matters to me. I'm learning to define success on my own terms. I'm figuring out what kind of life I want to create. These sentences show emotional clarity and personal insight. Let's pause for a moment and reflect. What parts of your identity are you still exploring? What values guide your decisions? What gives you a sense of purpose or direction? Thinking about these questions in English strengthens your expressive skills. Now let's discuss a topic that appears often among fluent speakers: cultural awareness. Understanding different cultures helps you communicate more naturally with people from around the world. Culture influences communication style, humor, politeness, body language, and expectations. Here are some advanced expressions. I've noticed cultural differences in how people express emotions. Where I come from, people tend to communicate indirectly. In some cultures, silence is a sign of respect rather than discomfort. Cultural norms shape how we interpret situations. I've become more aware of how my background influences my perspective. These sentences help you navigate multicultural conversations with ease. Now let's shift into another advanced topic: self-expression and authenticity. Speaking authentically means expressing your real thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, even if they're complicated. Here are some natural expressions. I'm trying to express myself more honestly. I'm learning to speak up instead of staying silent. I want my actions to reflect my values. I'm becoming more comfortable with being myself. I no longer feel the need to hide certain parts of who I am. These are powerful statements that show emotional maturity and confidence. Next, let's explore a skill that advanced speakers frequently use: giving thoughtful advice. Advice in English should be kind, realistic, and respectful, not forceful. Here are some natural expressions. If I were in your position, I'd consider. One approach that might help is, you might find it useful too. Something that worked for me was, only you can decide, but here's my perspective. These phrases allow you to support someone without sounding controlling. Now let's explore a topic that many learners love: personal development. Growth is something people all around the world care about, and discussing it requires rich, thoughtful vocabulary. Here are some natural expressions. I'm working on becoming more disciplined. I'm learning to take responsibility for my actions. I'm focusing on improving my emotional habits. I'm trying to build confidence step by step. I'm committed to becoming the best version of myself. These phrases appear constantly in advanced conversations. Let's move to another essential area: managing conflict and difficult conversations. Conflict is part of life, and handling it calmly is a sign of maturity. Here are some advanced expressions. I'd like us to talk about this calmly and respectfully. I understand your frustration, and here's how I feel. I want to find a solution that works for both of us. Let's try to understand each other instead of arguing. I'm open to hearing your perspective. These sentences help you communicate with empathy and clarity. Now let's dive into a deeper emotional skill: forgiving yourself and others. Forgiveness is complex and often difficult, but it's a topic many advanced speakers express when discussing personal experiences. Here are some expressions. I'm learning to let go of old grudges. I'm trying to forgive myself for past mistakes. I no longer want to carry emotional weight that doesn't serve me. I'm choosing peace over resentment. I've realized that forgiveness is more for me than for anyone else. These expressions show emotional wisdom and fluency. Next, let's move into one of the most powerful communication skills: expressing gratitude deeply and sincerely. Gratitude strengthens relationships, improves emotional health, and enriches conversations. Here are some natural expressions. I genuinely appreciate your kindness. Thank you for being patient with me. Your support made a difference. I don't take what you did for granted. I'm grateful for the trust you've shown me. These phrases help you sound heartfelt and authentic. Now let's shift into a skill that advanced speakers often display: reflecting on life transitions. People go through transitions all the time. Moving to a new place, starting a new job, ending a relationship, changing direction, or reinventing themselves. Here are some natural expressions. I'm going through a transition and I'm still adjusting. This change has made me rethink my priorities. I'm learning to trust myself during this period of uncertainty. I didn't expect this transition, but I'm doing my best to adapt. This stage of my life is teaching me resilience. These sentences show calmness, insight, and emotional intelligence. Now let's explore another advanced topic: understanding human nature. Advanced speakers often discuss why people behave the way they do, what motivates them, and how emotions influence decisions. Here are some expressions. People often act based on fear rather than logic. Most people want to be understood more than they want to be right. We sometimes project our insecurities onto others. People repeat patterns until they become aware of them. Human behavior is shaped by both experience and emotion. These statements show psychological awareness and depth. Before we end this section, let's cover a final skill: talking about inspiration and what motivates you. Here are some natural expressions. I'm inspired by people who stay true to themselves. I admire those who keep going despite challenges. I'm motivated by the idea of creating a meaningful life. I get energy from learning, growing, and contributing. I feel inspired when I see others pursuing their dreams. These expressions help you communicate passion and purpose. As we move into this next section of your advanced English practice, let's deepen your ability to express complex reasoning. At the C1, C2 level, you must be able to explain why you think something, how you reached a conclusion, and what factors influence your perspective. Here are some natural reasoning structures. The main reason I believe this is because this conclusion comes from observing that my perspective is shaped by several factors, including one piece of evidence that supports this is, based on what I've experienced, it seems that these structures help you sound logical, persuasive, and thoughtful, skills expected at advanced levels. Now let's move into a deeper and more reflective topic: how people change over time. Humans evolve emotionally, mentally, and spiritually as they go through different life experiences. Being able to express this naturally is essential for advanced communication. Here are some expressions. I've changed in ways I never expected. I'm not the person I used to be, and I'm grateful for that. My experiences have forced me to grow and mature. I've learned that growth often comes from discomfort. I've realized that change doesn't happen overnight. These expressions help you communicate emotional evolution with clarity. Let's pause and reflect for a moment. How have you changed in the last few years? What experiences shaped you the most? What lessons stayed with you? Thinking through these questions in English strengthens your reflective abilities. Now let's explore another high-level skill: expressing philosophical ideas. Philosophical thinking allows you to talk about life, purpose, meaning, morality, and the human experience using advanced structures. Here are some natural expressions. Life often teaches us lessons we didn't know we needed. The older I get, the more I understand the value of simplicity. Happiness is not something we chase, it's something we cultivate. People often search for certainty in a world full of uncertainty. Meaning isn't found, it's created through our choices. These kinds of statements help your English sound wise, thoughtful, and mature. Now let's explore a practical skill: expressing limitations in knowledge. Even experts don't know everything. A strong communicator acknowledges uncertainty without sounding unconfident. Here are natural expressions. I don't have all the answers, but here's my understanding. My knowledge is limited in this area, but I'll share what I know. I may be mistaken, but from what I've read, this isn't my field of expertise, though I'm familiar with the basics. I'm still learning about this topic. These phrases help you speak honestly and professionally at the same time. Next, let's explore something deeply human: talking about emotional wounds and healing. Advanced speakers often open up about challenges, disappointments, or painful experiences, and they use refined vocabulary to describe emotional recovery. Here are some expressions. I'm still healing from past experiences. Some wounds take time to fade. I've learned to forgive myself for what I didn't know back then. I'm working on rebuilding trust, slowly but steadily. I've realized that healing isn't linear. These expressions allow you to communicate vulnerability in a mature way. Now let's shift into something equally profound: expressing empathy through deeper understanding. Here are some natural expressions. I can imagine how difficult that must have been for you. That sounds incredibly overwhelming. You didn't deserve to go through that. It's understandable that you feel this way. I'm glad you shared that with me. It means a lot. Empathetic responses help you build trust, connection, and emotional depth in any conversation. Now let's move toward a topic advanced speakers often enjoy discussing: the human search for meaning and fulfillment. Here are some useful expressions. I'm searching for a life that feels meaningful, not just productive. I've realized that success without fulfillment feels empty. I'm trying to build a life that aligns with my values. I want to contribute to something greater than myself. I'm learning that fulfillment comes from growth, connection, and purpose. These expressions help you articulate the deeper parts of the human experience. Next, let's explore communicating uncertainty and resilience in the face of challenges. Here are some natural phrases. I'm doing my best, even though the outcome is unclear. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm staying hopeful. I'm learning to adapt to unexpected situations. I'm trying to stay grounded during uncertain times. I trust that things will make sense eventually. These sentences show emotional strength and maturity, essential qualities for advanced fluency. Now let's move into a new theme: Talking about global perspectives. At advanced levels, you should be able to discuss the world, society, culture, and human behavior in ways that sound intelligent and informed. Here are some natural expressions. People around the world are facing similar challenges, even if the circumstances differ. Globalization has connected us, but it has also highlighted our differences. Cultural values influence how societies approach problems. Technology has changed how we communicate, work, and perceive the world. Despite our differences, humans share universal hopes and fears. These perspectives help you contribute meaningfully to international conversations. Now let's explore another essential advanced skill: communicating maturity in difficult moments. Here are some natural expressions. I'm choosing to respond calmly rather than react emotionally. I'm trying to handle this situation with grace. I'm focusing on what I can control. I'm learning not to take things personally. I'm practicing patience and trust. These phrases help you express emotional discipline. Before we end this section, let's cover one final advanced skill: talking about purpose, passion, and long-term vision. Here are some natural expressions. I want to live a life driven by purpose, not pressure. I'm trying to discover what truly energizes me. I'm committed to growing into the person I'm meant to become. I want my future to reflect both my values and my dreams. I'm building a vision for my life that feels authentic. These statements help you express who you are becoming at the deepest level. As we move closer to the end of this advanced English practice, let's explore a skill that truly distinguishes C1, C2 speakers: intellectual conversation. At this level, you should be able to talk about ideas, big ideas, not just events. Ideas about society, human nature, personal growth, creativity, technology, culture, and the future. Let's start with some natural expressions used to introduce intellectual reflections. One idea I've been thinking about lately is, it's fascinating how I've been reflecting on the relationship between. It raises an interesting question about what this really makes me wonder is. These expressions help you introduce thoughtful points and contribute meaningfully to deep conversations. Now let's move into a powerful topic: how modern life affects our emotional well-being. People today often talk about stress, digital overload, and the pressure to succeed. Here are some expressions that sound natural and advanced. Life is moving faster than many of us can emotionally process. The pressure to constantly improve can be overwhelming. I think technology has connected us but also made us more distracted. Many people feel mentally exhausted without knowing why. I'm learning to create space for silence and mental rest. These expressions help you discuss life in a way that resonates with people across cultures. Now let's explore another essential concept: self-compassion. Many people are kind to others but harsh toward themselves. Being able to talk about self-compassion in English demonstrates emotional depth. Here are natural expressions. I'm trying to be more patient with myself. I'm learning not to criticize myself so harshly. I'm giving myself permission to rest. I'm practicing being gentle with myself during difficult times. I'm learning to celebrate my progress instead of focusing only on my mistakes. These sentences show maturity and emotional growth. Now let's shift into another advanced skill, expressing complex contrasts. Life is full of contradictions, and advanced speakers often express two opposing truths at the same time. Here are some natural expressions. I feel grateful, yet overwhelmed. I'm confident, but I still have moments of doubt. I'm excited for the future, yet nervous about what's ahead. I want to grow, but part of me fears change. I feel hopeful, even though things are uncertain. These expressions sound honest and emotionally intelligent. Next, let's explore the language of deep reflection. Reflection is a key part of advanced communication because it shows depth of thought, wisdom, and self-awareness. Here are some reflection-based phrases. Looking back, I can see how much I've evolved. I didn't realize it at the time, but that moment shaped me. I understand now why things unfolded the way they did. That experience taught me something I needed to learn. I'm grateful for the clarity I have today. These sentences make your English sound rich and meaningful. Now let's move into a topic that appears often among advanced speakers: the impact of environments on our behavior. Where you live, the people around you, the culture you're part of, all these influence how you think and act. Here are some natural expressions. We become like the environments we spend time in. Some places bring out the best in us, while others drain our energy. The people around us shape our habits more than we realize. Sometimes a change of environment is the first step toward growth. Our surroundings influence our identity in subtle ways. These statements help you express ideas with nuance. Now let's explore maturity and emotional intelligence, two essential parts of advanced conversation. Here are some natural expressions. I'm learning to pause before reacting. I've realized that not everything deserves my emotional energy. I'm becoming more aware of my emotional triggers. I'm trying to respond with understanding, not judgment. I'm learning to communicate without blaming or assuming. These reflect emotional depth and self-awareness. Next, let's shift into another advanced concept: finding meaning in challenges. Difficult experiences often shape us in powerful ways, and advanced speakers can express this with clarity. Here are some expressions. Challenges often reveal strengths we didn't know we had. Sometimes adversity forces us to grow in unexpected ways. Painful moments can become turning points in our lives. Struggle often teaches lessons that comfort never could. Even difficult experiences can plant the seeds of future growth. These sentences help you talk about hardship with perspective and maturity. Now let's explore something philosophical: the human desire for connection. No matter where we're from, humans crave understanding, acceptance, and belonging. Here are some natural expressions. People want to feel seen, heard, and understood. We thrive when we feel connected to others. Loneliness isn't just physical, it's emotional. Meaningful connection requires vulnerability and trust. We all want relationships where we feel valued. These ideas resonate no matter your background. Now let's practice another skill: expressing subtle emotional states. Intermediate speakers use basic emotions. Advanced speakers use layered ones. Here are some examples. I feel mentally scattered today. I'm emotionally drained, but trying to stay positive. I'm feeling quietly hopeful. I'm a bit overwhelmed, but I'll manage. I feel nostalgic in a way that's hard to explain. These phrases make your English sound natural and authentic. Next, let's talk about letting go of perfectionism, a topic many learners relate to. Here are some expressions. I'm learning to let go of impossible standards. I don't need to be perfect to make progress. I'm focusing on improvement rather than perfection. I'm trying not to compare myself to others. I'm learning to embrace imperfections. These statements help you express mental well-being and realistic expectations. Now let's explore the language of renewal and starting fresh, another deeply human experience. Here are some natural expressions. I'm entering a new chapter of my life. I'm ready to start fresh. I'm letting go of what no longer serves me. I'm giving myself space to grow into something new. I'm stepping into a version of myself that feels more authentic. This style of language is powerful and often used by native speakers in emotional, reflective conversations. Before we close this section, let's talk about expressing clarity after confusion, a skill that advanced speakers often demonstrate. Here are some phrases. Everything makes more sense now. I finally understand what I couldn't see before. I've gained a clearer perspective on the situation. What once felt confusing now feels understandable. I see the bigger picture more clearly now. These expressions show insight, maturity, and growth. As we come to the final section of this advanced English practice, let's bring together all the skills you've been developing throughout this lesson: clarity, depth, emotional intelligence, natural expression, and confident communication. Let's begin this last part with a powerful topic: seeing yourself with honesty and compassion. At the C1, C2 level, this ability helps you communicate more sincerely and thoughtfully. Here are some natural expressions. I'm learning to acknowledge both my strengths and my weaknesses. I'm becoming more aware of the patterns that hold me back. I'm trying to approach my flaws with understanding, not judgment. I'm learning to be proud of how far I've come. I'm giving myself credit for the progress I used to overlook. These phrases show emotional depth and maturity, key features of advanced communication. Now let's shift into another meaningful topic: what truly matters in life. People everywhere reflect on meaning, fulfillment, and purpose, and these conversations naturally require advanced vocabulary. Here are some expressions. I'm realizing that what matters most is inner peace. I've learned that meaningful relationships are worth more than anything material. I'm focusing on creating a life that feels grounded and authentic. I value experiences that help me grow as a person. I'm trying to live in a way that aligns with my values. These sentences help you express your deeper priorities clearly. Next, let's explore one of the most advanced communication skills, ending conversations with insight. Closing thoughts should feel intentional and emotionally resonant. Here are some natural closing expressions. In the end, we're all trying to figure things out as best we can. At the heart of everything, we just want to live meaningfully. When you look back, the small steps you take today will matter most. Most of life is a balance between holding on and letting go. The journey is just as important as the destination. These help you conclude deep conversations gracefully. Now let's move into a topic that ties everything together: the courage to keep growing. Here are some phrases that reflect this idea. I'm learning to take small steps even when I feel uncertain. I'm committed to becoming someone I'm proud of. I'm learning to trust the process, even when it feels slow. I'm taking responsibility for my growth and my future. I'm choosing to believe that better days are ahead. These expressions show strength, clarity, and purpose. Let's take a moment for a final reflection. Think about everything you've learned, not just today, but throughout your English journey. You've improved your vocabulary, emotional expression, storytelling, reasoning, clarity, and confidence. You've learned to speak naturally, thoughtfully, and authentically. And most importantly, you've learned to trust your voice in English. Now let's explore one final advanced topic: the universal human experience, something every person on the planet shares. Here are some expressions that capture this. We all experience moments of doubt, hope, and transformation. Every person carries a story that shaped who they are today. We're all trying to navigate life with the tools we have. No one goes through life without challenges. What connects us is not perfection, but our shared humanity. These expressions allow you to speak with empathy and understanding, true marks of fluent communication. Finally, let's close this 2-hour session with a message of encouragement, something meaningful, sincere, and supportive for your listeners. Here is a natural closing. You've just spent 2 hours practicing advanced English with intention and focus. That alone is something to be proud of. Fluency isn't built in a day. It's built through consistent effort, curiosity, and the courage to keep going even when it feels hard. Every bit of progress counts, and every minute you invest brings you closer to the confident speaker you want to become. Remember this: your voice matters, your thoughts matter, and your English journey is just beginning. Keep practicing, keep improving, and keep believing in your ability to grow. I'm proud of the work you've done today, and I'm excited for everything you will achieve. And to end naturally, here is a warm closing line suitable for your channel. Thank you for spending your time with me here on English in Motion. If this practice helped you, feel free to like the video and subscribe for more. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you in the next lesson.